What lies in front of you is a 2008 Scion TC with 144,000 miles. And as you read the title, this was Scion's most successful product. But before we begin, let's talk Scion. The Scion brand was a subdivision of Toyota, and its first full production year was 2004, and its original fleet contained 3 vehicles, the XA, and the XB, and the TC. Scion was aimed at selling to a younger, more affordable niche, and they sold quirky cars like the 3 I just mentioned. The XA struggled to sell, the XB sold decently but not great. Then there was this, the TC. The TC sold very well as a kind of a sporty car, and this one in specific is part of the first generation, which was out from 2004 to 2010, and is equipped with a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder, which produces 161 horsepower. The second generation of the TC was out from 2011 to 2016, when Scion met its unfortunate demise. And that is correct. In 2016, with struggling sales and a kind of a rough market, Toyota realized that Scion was struggling, and they canceled officially, and Scion eventually fizzled out, unfortunately, in summer 2016. Anyways, in this video, I'll be taking around the TC, showing off its various features and characteristics, and seeing where it falls in the Lemless evaluation scale. Stay tuned. Starting with the exterior, the first thing I want to mention is the name of this car. As you can see, it is DTC. That stands for Touring Coupe, which Scion decided would be a fitting name for this vehicle. And it's an odd little touch. I don't know why the T is in lowercase and the C is capitalized, but that was all of Scion's vehicles, not just the TC. So moving to the rear of the TC, one thing I really like about this car is the taillights. They're really cool looking. They're almost like bubbles in the taillights of this car. Pretty cool. You have 3 little ones, progressively getting larger with each one, giving it a bit of a following along with the quirky styling of Scion, but not in a bad way, in a good way. And one cool touch I want to also point out on the rack of the TC is the spoiler. As you can see on the rear, you have a pretty decent sized spoiler. Nothing massive, but it's a cool, subtle little touch to add to the sporty exterior look of the TC. In the second gen TC, it was more so of a lip and not a spoiler itself, but still a cool touch on the rear to give it a bit of a sporty look. And continuing with the exterior styling of the TC, as you can see, the front headlights are really cool as well, and they match the rear taillights perfectly. They have 2 large circular designs, and if you see these headlights at night, just in the middle of the day obviously, but if you see these headlights at night, they give it a bit of a mean look if all you see is the circular headlights. Very nice, almost similar to the Dodge Challenger a little bit. They have the big headlights in the front that are in the circular form. And as you can see here with the circular look, Scion continues that with the logo as well, and the grille, which has a bunch of little circles in the grille as well, giving it a bit of a cool and matching pattern to the front of the TC. So as you can see, we have the trunk lifted in the TC, and technically, although it is a coupe, it is a hatchback of the TC. And one thing I really like about this is, unlike most coupes or sedans where you have a little trunk, when you're kind of limited to space, as this is a hatchback, you have the entire rear trunk open. Like, I'm literally standing fully up, and the trunk is still like well above my head. You have plenty of room to maneuver with whatever cargo load you have, and you have a pretty good amount of room. Like, this isn't a huge car, it's a little coupe, but you have a pretty good amount of trunk space in the rear here in case you're going on vacation, have a business trip or whatever. Scion and Toyota really wanted you to make sure you have space, and they have just that in the TC. Pretty nice. And as you can see here with the hood open, you are unveiled with the 2.4-liter 4-cylinder engine, which produces 161 horsepower. As I said, Scion is a subdivision of Toyota, and as you can see, there is a Toyota badge on the engine and not a Scion badge, as it was technically produced by Toyota. They didn't go the effort to put a Scion badge on the engine of the car, but that's no big deal. As you can see, though, it is a 2.4 4-cylinder, and if you want to take a look at it, I will just give you a glance at it right here. So moving to the interior of the TC, as you can see, you have your steering wheel and your Scion badge in the middle. To the left of the steering wheel, you have your various volume controls and your radio controls to the left. Moving to the gauge clusters, you can see you have your various temperature and fuel gauges, your speedometer and your odometer, and your tachometer on the right. All a very simple and classic display on the interior of the TC. So moving to the center stack of the TC, as you can see here, you have your two air vents right here, pretty basic stuff. And if you move below, you have a Scion cover to continue with the sweeping look of the center stack. But if you press on it, it will whir open, and as you can see, you have your radio. This is a pretty common feature in coupes and little roadsters in the early to mid 2000s. Specifically, the one I can think off the top of my head was the Honda S2000, the same thing, where you could close it and hide the radio, and if you open it, it unveils it. Anyway, as you can see here, you have a very simple and easy to use radio. You have your presets, your volume knobs, your AM, FM settings, and your tune, all very simple and easy to use features. Moving below that, as you can see here, you have your hazards, your fan speed, your temperature button right here, and your fan speed. The temperature itself is a giant knob, as you can see, which twists it. I don't know if it reads the exact temperature, but as you can see, this is cool, this is hot, very easy to use. So we're continuing with the center stack of the TC. As you can see, if you hit this button, as you can see, there's currently shows the clock. If you hit this, it displays the outside temperature. Hit it again, and it goes back to the clock. H&M is hour and minutes if you want to change the time on the clock. Moving below this, as you can see, you have a little storage pouch right here if you want to put small little things in here for storage. Pretty nice touch. And you have your gear shifter right below it, all your basic gears. Open this up, you have a little coin slot, or if you want to put other little miscellaneous items, close it, and it goes back to normal. You have your e-brake and two cup holders and a padded center console to go along with everything, giving it a very simple and nice flowing design on the interior of the 2008 Scion TC. So assessing the seat comfort of the TC, Scion provides you with these sporty two-tone cloth seats. The cloth seats are a bit stiff, honestly, not providing the best comfort. This is one of the few complaints I will make about this vehicle. But remember, Scion wasn't aimed at going all out with lavish leather seats and upholstery, as the only trims the 2008 TC was offered in was base manual and base automatic. So moving to the rear of the Scion TC, as you can see, it is a little bit low back here. My head is almost touching the roof, but it is a kind of a hatchbacky coupe. But if you're hauling younger passengers or children, it's probably won't be that big of a deal. But aside from that, it's not the worst thing. One thing I will say is really surprising is I have a pretty good amount of legroom back here, honestly. I mean, I'm not like super far stretched out, but I'm sitting pretty straight up, and the seat is pushed pretty far back. And I got much better legroom than I anticipated. I've been in sedans with like rear doors which have less seat room than this, or legroom than this, which is pretty impressive, honestly. And one thing too, as you might notice, these seats are kind of like sunk in on the back. It's giving it a bit of a sporty touch. A lot of like high-end sports cars have like the rear seats like sunk in like this, if you can see it. But it's kind of a cool touch in Scion's addition in the rear seats, because you feel really planted and like locked into your seat, which is kind of a cool thing. It adds to like the sportiness of the TC. So from my perspective in the rear of the TC, as you can see, I'm about 5'11". Got a pretty good amount of legroom back here. Anyways, also in the rear seat, you have a little storage pouch on both sides and a cup holder, which is fitting a pretty large size water bottle in the rear of the TC. Pretty nice. Also on both sides for the drivers and passengers in the rear seat, you have a little shopping cart, or a shopping bag holder. Like if you get groceries from somewhere, put the bag right here and it will hold it in the rear seat without the bags rolling all over the floor. A cool touch you don't see in a ton of cars anymore, but a nice touch from the late 2000s. And also, as you can see, the rear seat is sunk in, like I mentioned. Kind of a cool sporty touch on Scion's part. And you have the basic rear center console. The only thing you can might make a small complaint about is there's no AC vents back here, but that's not that big of a deal. This was made for a more affordable group, and also this is a coupe, and Scion probably realized you're not going to have rear seat passengers in a coupe that frequently, so it's not that big of a deal. And one other cool touch in the rear of the TC, as you can see, this is a hatchback, and behind the rear seats you have access right into the hatch trunk of the TC. As you can see, putting my arm over the middle headrest, it is right into the trunk. Kind of a unique little touch. I get a kick out of it in the back of the TC, and you can see the spoiler as well. So one nice touch of the TC that most people probably don't even realize that the TC has is a fully operating sunroof on the front and a manual. This glass doesn't open, but the front part does. But if you want to retract this for the rear passenger, simply you pull it back and it can snap in, or retract and leave it open if you wish. But still, this is a pretty cool touch. You have pretty much a panoramic sunroof in a super affordable car, which is very rare, especially from the mid to late 2000s. So props to Scion for throwing this in the TC. A really nice touch on their part. So getting behind the wheel of the 2008 Scion TC, the first thing you know, this thing's got some pretty serious pep, honestly. Like, I just pulled out of a turn, I'm already hitting 40, 50 pretty quickly, honestly. It does have that very like kind of peppy, sporty, fun little coupe car that you like wouldn't mind like throwing around, whooping around. I'd love to see what it's like in manual. It's like kind of like the gears go, like flying through the back road, just burning through the gears. Pretty cool. I mean, this car has a 2.4 cylinder, 161 horsepower. It's got a pretty good kick, honestly. This engine fits this car very well, honestly. It's not sluggish by any means. And if you just want to, you know, hit it and just like kind of like fly, the TC lets you do exactly that. The one thing that I will notice off the bat too is the pedals are very similar to the Honda Civic. The pedals are very small in this car. I mean, obviously it's a little compact coupe, but the pedals are very small beneath your feet. The brake pedal is large, but the gas pedal is a tiny little slab. Kind of a funny little touch. The road noise of this thing is like, it's not, you know, insulated like a high-end luxury car, but when you're gonna buy a coupe, you kind of gotta expect this, obviously. You know, you can't be, you know, expecting like an insulated thing, but it kind of adds to the sporty vibe of the car, you know what I mean? And also, one thing about the TC that I will mention too, it has a pretty decent exhaust note, honestly. So assessing the turning radius of the TC, it is very easy to move around turns and corners and everything. It's a coupe, so thankfully, if you're going somewhere where it's a little tighter, maybe a city or something, this car would be awesome. It's very small and compact and can fit pretty much anywhere. It won't be a pain to take it anywhere that has a tight crevice. And overall, though, I mean, the comfort of this car is pretty good. It's got the simple cloth seats of the TC. It's pretty nice, reasonably comfortable, and just, you know, it's the ride quality is pretty good. You know what I mean? It's a sporty little coupe. It's got that zippy feel, and if you ever just want to get in there and just like kind of like hit the gas a little bit, it'll take off reasonably quick. You know, it's got pretty solid pep behind this thing. And overall, though, you know what I mean, if you're looking for an affordable, fun, sporty little car, TC is a great option for you. You know, it's a Scion, but I mean, it's a Toyota underneath it. You know, it's got good reliability. It's got well-built materials on the interior, and you know, it's just a sporty, fun little car to have that'll last you a while. It's fuel efficient, so you can't really complain about a lot of stuff. And it's got good storage. It's a hatchback too, so you're getting a lot of good features in the TC, honestly. So you gotta appreciate that. But overall, though, you know, just a fun little car. And if you're in the market for something affordable, kind of sporty, and just unique, as the Scion isn't even made anymore, it's a great option to consider for you. So, props to them. It is now time for the interview section, which answer 5 generic questions one would ask when going to purchase a vehicle. Question number 1 of the interview section is, what is my favorite part about the Scion TC? That is the overall exterior styling. You got the spoiler, you got these bubbly like rear tail lights, you have the circular front tail lights. It's just a sporty, cool car overall, and there's a nice little hatchback coupe look to it. Very nice. Question number 2 of the interview section is, what is my least favorite part about the 2008 Scion TC? And that would be the plasticiness and cheaper quality of the interior. Yet again, as I've said numerous times throughout the video, Scion was aimed at an affordable, younger audience, and the cheaper material helped cut costs for lower sticker price when selling the vehicle originally. And question number 3 of the interview section is, what is the most unique feature about the Scion TC? And I really like these. It is these circular rear tail lights. Just a very cool and simple look. It's something like, it's not like the basic boring headlights. Like Scion went out of their way to make like a cool circular, like kind of bubbly design for the rear tail lights. And I really like this, and it's a very unique feature of the TC. That's the styling. Question number 4 of the interview section is the Scion TC worth its value? That is a very easy yes. This car is extremely affordable. It is an awesome first car. If anyone's looking to get a first car, I'd recommend one of these to you possibly. But yeah, it is worth its value because these are no more than 20 grand tops. It is a sporty car. It's got decent features, and it's just a simple, reliable car overall. So yes, I would say that the TC is worth its value. And question number 5 of the interview section is, would I ever want or own the 2008 Scion TC? And the answer is a respectable no. While I do like the TC, I am more of a truck person, let's say, in every one of my videos, and this is a sporty little coupe. While it is a very cool and quirky car, and I do kind of miss Scion for the uniqueness, I would not want to own one myself. Now that we've evaluated the Scion TC's characteristics and features, time to see where it falls in the lemon list evaluation scale. Before I begin, I'd like to thank my friend Chris for lending me his TC for the production of this video. Chris has his own YouTube channel where he makes vlogs, gaming, and other types of videos, and I'll leave his channel in the description below. Now on with the scoring. Starting with exterior, the TC is a cool, eye-catching coupe with more character than the average car, earning a respectable 6 out of 10. Interior for the TC, on the other hand, is rather plasticky and basic, earning a 4 out of 10. Road grip on the TC is also subpar, as the cloth seats are rather stiff, earning a 4 out of 10. MPG on the TC is solid, but a bit surprising for its smaller size, having a combined estimated MPG of 25 miles per gallon, earning a 6 out of 10 on the MPG scale. Storage on the TC is good for a coupe, but still smaller than the average sedan, having a maximum storage capacity of 12.8 cubic feet, earning a 3 out of 10 for storage. Character of the TC is a strong point. This is a unique, sporty-looking coupe with bubbly taillights, circular grille pattern, and a semi-large spoiler. Plus, this car is a product of Scion, which is a quirky brand to begin with, earning a strong 7 out of 10 for character. Wishlist, on the other hand, is poor, as the TC is a minimalistic car with few features and loaded with cheap plastic. I'll throw in an extra point for the surprising panoramic sunroof, but it still earns a 4 out of 10 for wishlist. Handling on the TC is fine. It's easy to whip around and maneuver due to its small size, but has a fair amount of body roll, earning a 5 out of 10. Excitement on the TC is a mixed bag. The TC will certainly turn an occasional head, as this car had a decent following as a cool, sporty-looking car from Scion. However, it won't wow everybody on the road, and earns a 5 out of 10 for excitement. Stupidity of the TC is decent, not possessing many stupid features aside from the weird AC controls and the sunken rear seats, earning a 7 out of 10 for stupidity. Pricing of the TC is good, as these are a bargain, many of them going for under 5 grand with high mileage. These will last a while too, as they are still Toyota underneath the Scion badge, earning an 8 out of 10 for price. Engine responsiveness from the TC is decent, having reasonable pep for a late 2000s coupe, but by no means awe-inducing, earning a 5 out of 10 for engine responsiveness. And overall amenities in the TC is poor, as this car possesses little more than AC and a radio. Yet again, the first-gen TCs were only offered as base models, earning a 3 out of 10 for overall amenities. Add up all the scores, you get a grand total of 67 out of 130, divided up by 13 categories is 5.15. Despite its lower score, the TC is a solid vehicle overall. It was Toyota's cool-looking attempt of combining sportiness and affordability, and overall, it did pretty well, as it was Scion's most successful product. Although Scion has gone by the wayside and has quickly been forgotten, the TC stands as a testament of one of the last weird, zesty cars from the late 2000s. Aside from it being a bit bare bones, there isn't much not to like about this car, as it was one of my favorites to have reviewed thus far. As always, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more reviews in store.